this should be recording. Alright, so how to get your outfits not to look so shiny by adjusting the glossiness and specular in NIFScope. First thing you're going to need to do is find your NIF files. Not rename. There we go. Open and explore. Meshes. Just an FYI, if you run body slide, there's going to be a separate mesh up here in Caliente tools that you're going to want to edit too. But we're going to start with the base. Alright, in this case, it's the shirt that's extra shiny. So we're going to start with the smaller size, 0. 1 is highest weight, 0 is lowest weight. Open that up in NIFScope, which I've already done. Anyway, so there it is. It is purple right now because I've not imported my textures yet, which I'm actually going to do real quickly. Settings, resources, is it pants? I think so. And, you could just take me right to it. Find that mod. What was the name on that? It was Mages. Like an alphabet. There it is. They don't have the textures in the separated version because they don't need it. So I'm actually going to pull from the original mod right here. Sorry about the dog in the background. Apply, and that should, there it is. Now I have a couple options here. To do that, I actually need to tell it to pull from my recolor. Sorry about the dog. Alright, let me backtrack a little bit here. I want to show this with my recolor because it's a little more obvious that way. Where is it? There it is. Select, apply, close. Now it's not going to change right now, and you'll understand why in a minute. So this in-game with certain EMBs is going to look really shiny once you add colors to them. I don't know why, it just does that. So we want to change that. So we're going to look for, you see when I clicked on it, it automatically highlighted over here. So we're going to drill down to something called BS Lighting Shader Properties. We're going to open that up and come down to BS Shader Texture Set. Now this is telling the game where to pull your textures from. This is your instructions to the game. So I can change this. Right now it's pulling the base one. If I were to go change that, depending on what I named my file. Hang on. What did I name that file? Let's see. Okay, so I have one, shirts, pants, Athena. That works. I can actually go in here and tell it to pull from somewhere else. And it's fighting me. It's not supposed to have that. Hold on. Oh, you gotta be like this. Where am I off? Oh, I know. I told you to pull from there. Okay, you know what? That's a problem for another day. I don't feel like finding out now. Cute. Name it wrong. Shirt, pants. Doesn't matter that much. That's not really part of the process anyway. Alright. Behave yourself. There we go. Okay. So normally in this game, this ends up looking very shiny. You've all seen that. That's why you're here. So it's really easy. You're just going to come into here. You're going to go back up a level. You're going to see a whole lot of numbers and letters here. So I generally set glossiness here to about 200. Sounds excessive, really not. Specular strength is already pretty low. So that has decreased how much this is going to shine under an EMB. Honestly, could it go lower? That's not lower. I can. Like I said, this will really show up once the color's in there. For some reason, white doesn't really show it, which I suspect is why a lot of shirts are done in white. But anyway, so that's literally all there is to that. Change your glossiness, change your specular, save. So now you need to go back, open up the second one. Remember, it's got two sizes. There she is again. Let's see if that carried over. That would be nice. It did not. So again, click the button, and we're going to change you to 5, just because, and save. Now I'm gonna go ahead and pull up. I want to do this. I don't know why you wouldn't want to show up. It's annoying me. Alright, so and you'll notice when that's saved, it saves straight into the original folder I pulled it from, just so don't worry about that. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and pull up a different armor just to show you how that glossiness changed. Actually, you know what? Alright, we'll use this. So you see how those are nice and shiny? We can make them more shiny if that's your thing. And this is counterintuitive, but if you go down, you see it's more shiny now. Versus, let's make it 100. Significantly less shiny. Removing almost all of it. And then you come here and change this. Almost completely gone. I would like to have a little bit. There we go. So you see what I mean? I'm reducing the shininess here. But just by messing with that setting and that one right there. Glossiness and specular strength. Again, you just save and it is fixed in your game. You just got to go in, have a look around, maybe tweak it again. That's it. Alright, hope that helps. Okay, here she is pulled up in game. We still got a little shiny, but not nearly as much as we did. I've got this under a spotlight to really make it pop. Not bad. I actually would prefer to give a little bit of the gloss back, but that's just me. And that's what I mean about you gotta go in and tweak once in a while. Anyway, there we have it.